All right, Nick, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a team that we like to talk a lot about on this channel because they seem to have it going on. They've got it figured out. They always seem to make the right move, and that's what we like to talk about is teams who are making the right moves. So, Chiefs fans, if you see your team pop up around here, it's probably a good sign for you. But before we get into this story about the major uptick of Patrick Mahomes' preseason play and what all that means, we got to know, Chiefs fans. Throughout history, there's been a ton of talent on the Chiefs. You got Tom Bahali, you got Justin Houston, got Anthony Gonzalez, Dwayne Bowe, Jamal Charles, all really legendary, great Chiefs players, doing all kinds of great stuff. But when you were growing up, the era of Chiefs football you watched growing up, who was your favorite player? Who's the guy that you idolized the most? We want to know. Let us know in the comments below who your favorite Chief is of all time. But Nick, what's Patrick Mahomes been up to?
Yeah, before I get into that, I think one guy a lot of people slept on a long time was Jamal Charles. I mean, there was a 4 or 5 year run there where that dude was averaging like 6 yards a carry. He was a big play, one of the all-time great running backs. I think a lot of people have kind of slept on a little bit. He was insane. But to Mahomes, to your point, so Mahomes has kind of had an interesting first two preseason games. He's attempted 26 total passes across the two games, 7 in the first game against the Bears, and then 19 with 2 touchdowns in his most recent game against Washington. Now, 26 passing attempts doesn't sound like a whole lot. But then when you compare him against what other veteran established quarterbacks have done this so far in the preseason, I think we got a graphic pulled up that'll kind of outline it for you a little bit. Is that if you look at, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, you can see all the guys on the screen in front of you combined. Now, a lot of these guys don't even play, haven't even played. Combined, they've only attempted 3 passes by our count. Now, what does that mean? What is Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs doing here, with playing Mahomes more, attempting more passes and things like, obviously there's concern about, injuries and things like that. But I think there's a hidden message here. And Andy Reid is trying to send a big statement, both to his players and through the rest of the NFL by putting Mahomes in and running what seems to be a really effective offense at this point. What are your thoughts on what Reid's doing here?
Well, I like it. Kansas City has gone through a lot of shakeup through the players on the team. Obviously, people will say, "Oh, Mahomes is going to be nothing without Tyreek Hill." Well, that's just not true. Mahomes is an excellent player, and they've really recouped the loss of Tyreek Hill very, very solidly. I think MVS is a great addition. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is a great addition, and more importantly, the rookie they got is really, really, really looking nice. Sky Moore out of SMU, really great looking player. He's got a couple of big plays so far in the preseason, so that's very promising. But I think it's like a tour de force, a show of power. March out Mahomes and say, listen, you know, there's not these starters aren't starting. MVS, Juju, Smith Schuster aren't starting in these preseason games, really. They're not really playing a whole lot.
Mhm.
But Mahomes is going out there, and like we talked about earlier, he's not really throwing to anybody, but he's still putting it up. It's almost like Andy Reid marches Mahomes out there to put the message, like a Tom Brady-esque message. Like, it doesn't matter who's on the field. We can make plays, and we can be that super, super powerful offense that people are afraid to go against. So I think that's kind of what Reid is trying to bring to the table. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think there's the Chiefs have been the dominant force in the AFC the last half decade, right? They've won more games. They've the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC has gone through Kansas City. Even the team that people see is right there with them, like the Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs had beaten them the last 2 times in the playoffs. So this is the dominant team in the AFC in recent memory. But there's been a lot of stories this offseason. A lot of people maybe feeling that the Chiefs are vulnerable, more just what other teams have been doing, right? So obviously the Raiders bring in Devontae Adams, the Broncos bring in Russell Wilson, the Chargers bringing a lot of guys on defense, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, and so on. So there's this sort of belief that maybe the Chiefs are vulnerable. And I think what Andy Reid here is trying to send a message and trying to like keep that mystique, that aura around Kansas City. He says, no, we are still the big dogs, and we're going to beat you. Even we know Tyreek Hill's gone, and we're not even going to play our best guys in the preseason, and you're going to still see what this offense can do, led by Pat Mahomes. But there's also one other thing I think that Andy Reid here is doing, which I think is important. Is this is sort of sending the message to his young and new players on this offense that, oh my gosh, this scheme with Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and with Pat Mahomes running it really works. Like this isn't just like this wasn't like just Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce being great players and Pat Mahomes, just being Pat Mahomes. Like this offense works. They can plug in just random guys. You can have Jody Fortson. I don't even know who Jody Fortson is, but he catches 2 touchdowns against Washington. Justin Watson has 50 plus yards. I mean, these are not guys who are going to be big time contributors for the Kansas City Chiefs, or even if they may not even make the team, depending how deep this receiver group is, which is incredibly deep. And this is sort of just a message to all these new guys and young guys. It's like, listen, this scheme, this offense, this culture, this works. And I think that's the way people can kind of get more buy-in to some of these new guys that I'm sure they were buying a good bit, but you look at maybe a Sky Moore, maybe an Isaiah Pacheco, who's just kind of new to the fold, rookie kind of deal. Just like, oh my gosh, this what we have here in Kansas City is really special. Andy Reid, Bieniemy, Mahomes, they're even better than we thought because they can make it work almost no matter who lines up out there. And once you get that buy-in, I think it just kind of drives the narrative forward that this Chiefs team, I mean, they're not vulnerable the way other teams may think so. They're just as good, maybe even better going into 2022.
All right, Nick, it's time to get your internet privacy back today on every device you own in any country you want. Don't let anyone but you control your internet. NordVPN keeps you safe from prying eyes wherever you go online with their military-grade encryption. Is your favorite Netflix or streaming content blocked in the US? You can simply connect to one of the many countries available with NordVPN and get the access you need.
That's right, Maya. So right now, get our exclusive NordVPN deal here at nordvpn.com/SMI. It's risk-free now with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, get that exclusive deal, nordvpn.com/SMI.